Hi guys, it's Jennifer. Welcome back to Busy Being Jen. I'm here today to talk about the things I wish I had known before I hit menopause. If you're in your 30s or 40s, or maybe, in your early 50s and haven't gotten signs of perimenopause or menopause, please stick around and keep watching, because there are things I'm going to share with you that were misconceptions for me and things that I really wish I had known and would have done differently if I could go back and do it all again. So the first thing is that going through menopause without hormones is not heroic. I really thought that, let's just see if I can go through this on my own. And I really didn't have that much of a difficult time going through menopause. My biggest symptoms came afterwards, but I went through 2 years of having hot flashes, drenching hot flashes 4 to 5 times a day. And so I thought I was just being a rock star. Like, I was going through this. It's not that bad. No big deal. As long as I get a cold drink on my neck, within a minute of it starting, I can get rid of them. I was always wearing cold scarves and different things like that. So, I just didn't think that there was any need for me to go on hormones. And I wish I had known different, because what I have found is that hormones actually protect a lot of systems of your body. And so using them to go through menopause is actually a good thing for you, rather than a sign of weakness. In the end, I just found that when I reached the other side of menopause, that I was just sort of falling apart in a lot of ways, and we'll get to that later. The other thing is that hormone depletion actually speeds up aging. And this does mean in your appearance, like in your skin, and it also means that it ages systems in your body. It affects your brain, your heart. I've got notes here. Your brain, your heart, your bones, all of that, all of those things you start to lose, and those things your functioning starts to decrease when your hormone levels are depleted. And I noticed it first in my aging face, because I've always looked, when I was growing up, I've always looked a lot younger than I actually was. Usually people would guess 10 to 12 years younger than I was. I remember when I hit 50, everybody who found out was like, no way, there's no way you're 50. But by the time I was 54, if I mentioned how old I was, people would kind of go, like, yeah, I can see that. Like, in that frame of time of 4 years, there was just a lot of aging that happened on my face. And that was just the surface of things that happen inside your system. So really, it's not just about hot flashes and night sweats and being uncomfortable with some things like that, but it really is about your long-term health. The third thing I didn't know was that you can actually begin hormone replacement therapy before you hit menopause. So you can actually skate right through it, and you don't have to wait until you've got all these miserable symptoms going on. And so if you're wanting to be preventative about it, first of all, you can get maybe an idea of how you'll go through it by asking your mom how it was for her. My mom had a hysterectomy, though, in her late 40s, and so I had nothing to go on. It also could be that you maybe would take after a grandmother instead of your mother in terms of how you go through it, but you could get some general idea. But I would say, I've got my dog here who's decided to rattle her collar, sorry. But I would say that you can be proactive about it by speaking to a doctor and just finding out what the options are, and when maybe you would want to consider doing that if you decide to use hormones proactively. You can find out, you might think, I don't know if I'm close at all. Well, you can get blood work done, and the doctor looks for your FSH level. That's your follicle stimulating hormone. And that will, whatever that number is, when you hit a certain number, then you're in menopause. So you'll see yourself getting closer and closer and closer to that number, and a doctor will be able to help you with that. Next thing that I wish I had known is that hormones have protective benefits to your body. In particular, estrogen helps to protect your heart, and I mentioned before, and your bones, and your brain, and all kinds of things. And so it really is not just about alleviating symptoms, but helping you to be healthier overall for longer. Here's the next thing I wish that I had known. Estrogen does not cause breast cancer. There was a misinterpreted study. It was widely distributed study. It was the WHI, which is the Women's Health Initiative. It was misinterpreted. The results were misinterpreted. People got the idea that every single person who used hormone replacement therapy got breast cancer. It has been refuted. Researchers and doctors, some doctors, and have come out and said that that is not true, that it was not interpreted appropriately, and that estrogen does not cause breast cancer. Now, there are some breast cancers that feed on estrogen. So obviously, if you've had breast cancer like that, you need to talk to your doctor. Certainly not use estrogen during the time that you're going through treatment. And some people just never again after that. But there are some things like testosterone is something that we get depleted in as well. And that doesn't affect someone who has had breast cancer. So before I move on, I want to tell you that I'm linking a video in the description box that I just did a few weeks ago called Hormone Pellets Changed My Life. And primarily what I'm talking about in that video, in addition to a little bit about estrogen and progesterone, is testosterone, which, by the way, women's bodies produce more of throughout our lives than we do estrogen. And so if you're depleted in testosterone, you can, have fatigue and lack of motivation. I had low-level depression, things like that. And so really, most anyone can use a boost in testosterone. You don't want to go crazy with it, but watch that video for more information about that. But all that to say, there are a lot of doctors who are not up to date on the current data about hormone replacement therapy. And even my own doctor was saying, well, you can only be on it for 3 to 5 years. This is going to increase your risk of breast cancer by 1 to 3%. And every year when he would rewrite my prescription, okay, you only have 4 years left that you can be on this. Okay, you can only have 3 years left that you're on this. And I was just thinking, golly, so I get 3 to 5 years of feeling good, and then all of a sudden I have to go back to feeling like crap. So find a different doctor. If they are not up on the current research about menopause and hormone replacement therapy, find a different doctor. And you can look up, there's like a menopause database to find doctors who specialize in menopause, and look for a good doctor. But just because they say that they specialize in menopause doesn't mean that they're up to date, because another doctor in that same doctor's office, I was looking through the bios on these different doctors, and she said that she specialized in menopause, and I went to her and she was feeding me the whole WHI study data. So do your homework. People are not educated about menopause and hormone replacement therapy. The next thing is that hormones are not the same as they used to be. I mean, women used to take Premarin, which is made of horse urine. Thank God we don't do that anymore, right? And so now they have bioidentical hormones. They're a much better fit for our bodies. And finally, you don't have to just survive menopause. You can actually thrive. I ended up with 11 symptoms of postmenopause. Like I said, I had hot flashes and night sweats during the time I was going through menopause. And then once my cycle stopped, I thought, yippee, I won a prize. I don't have a period anymore. And then all my symptoms hit me then. And I had 11 of them: breast pain, dry skin, dry hair, aching joints, sugar cravings, hot flashes, night sweats, fatigue, memory problems, lack of motivation. I mean, all of these different things hit afterwards. And we spend a good portion of our lives in menopause, you guys. We spend, like a third of our lives there. And so you really can feel good and thrive in this part of your life. So I'm going to list a bunch of stuff for you in the description box. The video that I talked about, I'm going to list some other stuff for you as resources. And don't just sit miserable, you guys. And those of you who are younger and haven't hit this yet, tuck this in the back of your brain, save this video. Someday you're going to go, who was that woman and what was she talking about? Because now I know. And so you don't have to go through it. You don't have to go through it. So I hope this was helpful. Please comment in the comments below or ask any questions you have. I'm not a doctor, not a health professional, but I can share with you things about my experience. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you again on Busy Being Jen. Bye-bye.